Welcome to Unity of Wilmington's hybrid service. We are both in person, thank you for being here, and we are online, thank you for being here. If you are online, say hello, whether it's good morning or hey, I come from this town or this country, whatever it is for you. Say hello and feel free to make comments throughout the service. We're looking for positive, loving comments, not just any old comment, but you know we are a Unity church, and I'm going to remind you in this day that what you think and what you feel is your consciousness. So think about that as you make the comments. But we know that we have had a wonderful time of having loving, really positive comments. But thank you for being here in all ways. Let's open this space this morning. I'm going to ask you to stand up. And if you're at home watching or you're somewhere else watching and you feel comfortable, go ahead and stand up. Let's stand on our feet and let's say this powerful affirmation of truth. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. God, the good omnipotence. And let yourself feel that. Let yourself feel that. There is only one power and one presence. Do you believe it? And are you living it? Ask yourself that question. Do I believe it and am I living it? And with this affirmation of truth, I want to share with you that you are a beloved expression of God. And if you're on the chat, write that. I am a beloved expression of God. You are here for a holy purpose. And you are always in the right place at the right time. And that time is right now. So let's say those affirmations. I am a beloved expression of God. I'm here for a holy purpose. I'm in the right place at the right time right now.
See the moon roll across the stars. See the seasons change like a heart. Your father's days are lost to you. This is your time here to do what you will do. Your life is now, your life is now, your life is now. In this undiscovered moment, pick your head up above the crowd. We could take this world if you would only show us how. Your life is now. Would you teach your children to tell the truth? Would you take the high road if you could choose? Do you believe you're a victim of a great compromise? 'Cause I believe you change your mind, you change your life. Your life is now, your life is now, your life is now. In this undiscovered moment, pick your head up above the crowd. We could shake this world if you would only show us how. Your life is now. Would you teach your children to tell the truth? This is your time here to do what you will do. Your life is now, your life is now, your life is now. In this undiscovered moment, lift your head up above the crowd. We could shake this world if you would
Thank you very much, Jason Acock, and thank you, Katie Dees. And thank you for being here. A year ago, I discovered Jordan B. Peterson. He had been rocking the world for a number of years, but January 2021, he began to rock my world. He, according to the New York Times, is it's really teeny tiny print, the most influential public intellectual in the Western world right now. So I immediately ordered this book, 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. And I had decided that I was going to have a year-long series. Wasn't that very clever of me? One rule per month. And yes, it was a good plan. It was the plan. And in Unity, we teach that sometimes plans don't go the way we think they're going to go. We teach, like, hold the vision, create a mental image in your mind of the consciousness that you want to have, color it, get the feeling of it, and don't be attached to a specific avenue of having it come into manifestation. So, yeah, somewhere in that year, I had the opportunity to go on sabbatical, so I went on sabbatical. So we got the first 7 rules, and then I had the sabbatical, and then when I came back, it was almost the holidays, and in the minister business, it's really good to speak about gratitude on Thanksgiving and Christmas at Christmas. I mean, that's kind of what you do. So anyway, I've been invited to bring it back, and we're going to do that today. But my first point is that Unity teaches don't get attached to a particular avenue of something coming into manifestation or demonstration. If you think about prosperity, as Unity defines it, is this big, broad consciousness of God. It's huge. And in Unity, when we talk about prosperity, we're talking about abundance in every aspect of our life, in our relationships, in our finances, in our fun, in our entertainment, in our spirituality. We want abundance in all of those places. But prosperity and abundance is not tied to a particular outcome. It's vast and it's limitless. Charles Fillmore defines prosperity as the consciousness of God as the abundant, everywhere present resource, unfailing, ready for all who open themselves to it. So what Unity doesn't teach, and what Mr. Fillmore doesn't say, that prosperity is taking that cruise around the world. I will only be prosperous if I can take that cruise around the world. Or I can only be prosperous in my relationships if I fall in love with that particular person. Or define myself by a specific career or a course of study in a university. I haven't forgotten going to my younger son's college orientation weekend. Chris had declared chemistry as his major, and in that orientation weekend, I ended up sitting next to the head of the chemical engineering department. And he turned to me and he gave me the big push of why my son should go into chemical engineering. And don't you know that he's going to graduate and walk into a job with 6 figures, and we're not talking like the 100,000s. He said that is, the benefit of chemical engineering. So now I have dollar signs in my eyes. And I turn around and I look at Chris, and he goes, "Not my avenue of prosperity, Mom." Now, he wasn't a babe, but out of the mouth of babes, such wisdom comes. The vastness of prosperity isn't tied to a particular job or a particular income stream or a particular plan to go through 12 rules of life over 12 months. But since so much time has passed, a recap, not just a little recap, but a total recap, is in order. The basic premise that Jordan Peterson gives for the value of having these 12 rules for life is that we are at our highest and best living when we are on that edge between order and chaos, between the unknown and the known. So when we organize and balance ourselves between all of what we don't know, all of that chaos, and a very systematic regimen, a very systematic system, that's a little redundant, a code to live by. Now, if we live too much by the code or too much by the rules, we end up being in a totalitarian state. There's no creativity, there's total dominance. It's easy to bring to mind, let's just say Hitler's Nazis or Stalin's Russia or Mao's China. Too many rules, very stifling. On the other hand, we actually live in the unknown most of the time. We live in chaos most of the time. We need some rules, but we don't need rules only, and we can't even, it's too overwhelming to recognize how much of the unknown we live in. So our best and highest living comes from that balance. Now, when I say the unknown, when I say chaos, I think that not a single person here or online is going to argue that in the last 2 years this has been particularly evident. 2 years of COVID, of the pandemic, of shutdowns, of the blanket of fear. 2 years of the highest numbers of civil unrest and the highest numbers of mass shootings that just seem to happen like solar flares, and the weirdest weather that defies the phenomenon or any historical. So it's like we recognize how much of our life we do live in the unknown. But what Jordan Peterson is inviting us to do is to have some rules, some really good rules that can support us in finding our balance. So rule number 1 is stand up straight with your shoulders back. Success is not defined by whether we win or lose. Our success is determined on what we tell ourselves about the experience of winning or losing. Negative feedback loops can start to give us that downward spiral that starts us to contract, where all we can think about are the relationships that aren't working, or the job we're not happy in, or that we didn't get that cruise, or that plan didn't work out, or somebody yelled at us, or whatever. When we start feeding ourselves in that negative feedback loop, what happens in our body is that we begin to have dis-ease. So negative feedback, continual negative feedback, starts to show up in our bodies as illness. It might show up in our face, a resting face of anger. I have a friend, oh my God, she goes like this all the time. She's one of the unhappiest persons I know. It shows up in her face. When we stand up straight, we tell our body that we are open to positive feedback, that we're open to learning, and that we're open to all of the goodness that life has to offer. Just try it sitting in your seat or wherever you are watching online. Pull those shoulders back. It's a whole different feeling. We're sending our body and our life a whole different message just by standing up straight. We're reclaiming our power. I mean, feel how powerful you are. Number 2, treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. The best way to wrap your mind around this rule is to notice how you feel about yourself every day and what your dominant thoughts are when something happens. For example, something happens, you go to the doctor. This is a survey, research that's done. Out of 100 people who go to the doctor and get a prescription for medication for an illness or an ailment, out of 100 people, the research shows that 1/3 of them will not even get the prescription filled. Of the remaining 2/3, half of those people will not take the medication at all. They'll take it improperly, or they'll stop before it's finished, even if their lives depend on it. Looking at how we treat a pet, on the other hand, let's say a pet dog, if there's something that's going on with a pet dog, we take the dog to the vet, and the vet will prescribe a medication. Nearly 100% of the time, that medication is not only filled, the prescription is filled, but the whole dose will be given to the dog. So why is it that we treat our pets differently or others differently than we treat ourselves? And here's why. Because in our culture, in our society, and in the religious constructs that we've grown up in, we've been taught that we are fundamentally flawed. Adam and Eve. From Adam and Eve, we are fundamentally flawed. We make horrible mistakes. The fall of man. And that trickles down or matriculates into a belief that we don't deserve to take care of ourselves. Snap, snap. Wake up. Wake up to your divinity. Wake up to remembering that you're born in the image and likeness of God. Wake up and remember that you are a beloved expression of God. I mean, we say that and we mean that in unity. You are divine. You are worth taking care of. Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. These first 3 rules, Jordan Peterson says, are the hardest. They're the hardest because they require intense self-examination. And should we choose to apply them and engage in them, then our lives will be required to change. It's like, oh, it's the good news and it's the hard news. It's the very hard news. Number 3 rule is make friends with people who want the best for you. If you are hanging out with people who don't want the best for you, who are using you, who aren't treating you very well, it'll be very difficult to live out your divinity, to be your best self. So you want to really have friends who are allies in your learning, who call you on your stuff. Oh, really? Oh, really? Is that true for you? Is that really true? How would I know? Because what you're doing is different than what you say. I mean, they're going to call you. Those are really true friends. And when we're with friends and have friends who want the very best for us, then we're truly supported on our journey of living on the edge between order and chaos. Then we're truly supported. Jordan Peterson says, heaven doesn't come to you. We have to work for it. In Unity, we believe that heaven is a state of consciousness. It's a state of consciousness that we have to choose. Because the other choice really is an experience that is less than heaven. And I'll just say it, it's hell. We're not happy, we're not fulfilled, we're not satisfied. Number 1, stand up straight. Number 2, treat yourself like you're worth it. And number 3, surround yourself with allies who are going to support you in your journey. So if you can get through these first 3 rules, you're going to think you have it made, but there's more. There are more. Number 4, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who somebody else is today. And on the surface, it's very obvious that this rule is about not measuring your success or failure on what your neighbor is like. You know, that's a triad of evil just waiting to happen. Arrogance, deceit, revenge, resentment. It's just a triad of evil. If we start comparing ourselves to other people, we have no idea what somebody else's life is like. We really don't. It might look good, it might look bad, but we have really, truly no idea what somebody else is going through. Our standard needs to not be on our neighbor, not on the Joneses or the Smiths or the whoever's. Our standard is an internal one. Am I better than I was yesterday? Am I making my life better than it was yesterday? Am I making life better for myself and others? Those are big, powerful, wonderful, transformational questions. I know that I was really caught up in comparing myself to others. I had no idea how miserable I was making myself. I want to be the best this. I want to be the best that. And I'm measuring myself outside. This rule was the most transformational rule for me because I got to see that the only person I needed to measure myself against was myself. And what am I really here for? To make life better for myself and others. That's really my purpose. It doesn't have to be big, giant things. You know, most transformation comes from micro movements. We have so many burdens on our shoulders every day. But if we could just do one small thing to make life better for ourselves, then tomorrow our life would be better. If we could do one small thing to make life better for other people, then the world we live in would be a better place tomorrow. Rule number 5, do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. It's a sneaky rule because it's about sequence and consequence. It's about what you sow, you will reap. In Unity, we look at things metaphysically. So every event that we're experiencing, every place, every character in the story of our life is actually a reflection of ourselves. So the affirmation that we developed when we looked at rule number 5 was, don't do anything that makes you dislike yourself. I commit to not doing anything that makes me dislike myself. Because the seeds that I plant today are going to grow into the trees of the future, and those trees of the future are going to bear fruit. We are known by the fruit that we bear, says the universal teacher Jesus. So what seeds do you want to plant today? I commit to not doing anything that makes me dislike myself. Rule number 6, set your own house in perfect order before you criticize the world. It's not about pointing fingers in any direction. This rule really invites us into 2 shifts. One is the shift in our consciousness that reminds us of our own divinity, that reminds us that we're created in the image and likeness of God. God is good, therefore we are good. We have the capacity for goodness in our lives. We have the expanding capacity to have more good in our lives. And the second shift this rule invites us into is making the choice between accountability and vengeance. We can choose to be responsible and accountable for our own actions, or we can spend an equal amount of energy blaming others It's their fault. I'm going to make them pay. So we can choose vengeance and suffer, or we can choose transformation and reclaim who and what we are. Who votes for transformation? Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one. It's exciting. It's hard work. But remember, the kingdom of heaven doesn't just come to you. We have to work for it. We have to work for it. Number 7, do what is meaningful and not what is expedient. This was like the longest chapter, the longest rule. And he went on and on and on and on and on and on about how when you do something meaningful, it's because you sacrificed. And I was just not into sacrifice. Because to me, sacrifice is, oh, go ahead. Hurt me. Go ahead. It's like the bigger version of I'm a doormat, please walk on me. But it was like I just had this hard time with sacrifice until I got to thinking about metaphysical interpretation and what sacrifice really means metaphysically. A refining process that is constantly going on in consciousness, a purification of mind and body so that spirit may come in and do the regenerative work. I can get into that kind of sacrifice. I want to be refining all the time. I want to be refining my consciousness all the time. So I have a clearer understanding of my oneness with God. That's meaningful. I want to be purifying my mind and my body so that the regeneration of all those mistakes I made can be erased and made clean. I want to be purified. I want that for myself, and I want that for you. I want you to be on that edge of chaos and order. I want you to be living your highest and best life. I want all of us. I want that for all of us. I want that because it's meaningful. It's meaningful. What is expedient really sets us up for rule number 8, or the value of rule number 8, because we choose expedient when we're not comfortable, when we're anxious, when we don't feel good, and we want to make a choice as fast as we can, so whatever it is that's making us not feel good will go away. So we instead of refining and taking the time to do our spiritual work, we're just like, make it go away, make the pain stop, make the conflict stop, make those nasty people stop. We just want to be expedient. Expedient is likened to putting skeletons in a closet. Do you know? Of course you do. Skeletons grow in the closet, just like mold grows in the dark. Being expedient is likened to having a stain on the carpet and putting a rug on top of it. Being expedient is likened to telling lies, to trick our mind into thinking our reality is something different than it is, which is, like I said, the perfect setup for rule number 8. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Are you breathing? It's quite the recap and review. Ultimately, we lie because we think we can manipulate the world. We think that if we say something, then we're going to actually be able to change what's happening out there, like control other people or control strategically how outcomes flow. Jordan Peterson says, to conduct life like this is to become possessed by some ill-formed desire, and then craft speech and action in a manner that appears likely, in a manner that appears rational to bring about that end. Justification of these life lies are to prove that I am right. I'm going to lie to prove that I am right. I'm going to lie to appear competent. I'm going to lie to attract attention. I'm going to lie to ensure that everyone likes me. I'm going to lie so that nobody gets mad at me. Oh no, I didn't steal those cookies. We lie so people don't get mad at us. We lie to appear to be the victim and get sympathy. We lie to appear to be the hero. Oh, we couldn't have done it without you. Yeah, well, I didn't do all those things, but sure, I'm going to tell you I did all those things. We lie to minimize or avoid conflict. It's not bad. It's just a choice we have made in the past. And we don't have to continue making those choices in our present. Remember, the seeds we plant today are going to be the trees of tomorrow, and then those are the fruit that's... Okay, you know that. In the Gospel of Mark, chapter 8, verse 36, Jesus said, "For what shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world and forfeit his soul?" So you might get what you're going after, but at what cost? At what cost? Unity is not a traditional church. So we're not a church that's into getting another room in our mansion. We're not a church that's about getting another jewel in our crown. We're not a church about the traditional kind of salvation that other Christian churches talk about. The only thing that Unity wants to save is your mind. We want to save your mind. We want to be that friend. We want to be that ally in learning to help and support you shift your consciousness so that you can recognize enough of your own divinity, your own worth, your own power. That's the kind of change that we're inviting you into. That's the kind of change that Unity really wants you to experience. That's the kind of transformation we want you to see in your own life. We want to have you have those results in your own life. That's the kind of salvation that we want to open you up to, open your hearts and open your minds to. Jordan Peterson says salvation is when we're willing to learn from what was. Salvation comes when we're willing to learn from what was and then let it go. So we're inviting you to recognize, wow, I see how I balanced chaos and order in this experience. I see how I balanced something meaningful and expedient in this instant. I see how the seeds I planted, I see how I did things, I see how I did it. Just examine it as a detached observer, and then make that choice to come into the fullness of who and what you are. Jordan Peterson tells the story about a friend of his who had been married for decades to this woman, and when he found out that his wife was having an affair, he was devastated, went into a tailspin of deep despair. And when he was down there in the depths and the murk and the mud of this underworld experience, he said to Jordan Peterson, I had always thought that when people were depressed, they should just shake it off. He said, I had no idea what I was talking about. But eventually, he emerged from this experience as a new man. He lost 40 pounds. He ran a marathon. He went to Africa, and he climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. He took a look at all the ways he contributed to what happened in his marriage. And he experienced salvation. Salvation of the mind. Salvation of the mind. I want this for me. I'm glad that man had it, and I want it for you. Truth makes the past truly past and makes the best use of the future's possibilities. Truth is the ultimate, inexhaustible natural resource. It's the light in the darkness. See the truth. Tell the truth. There's nothing mamby-pamby about Jordan Peterson. And what a wonderful gift to be invited into that experience where we're not wasting a single minute of our lives. See the truth. Tell the truth. You have it in you to be courageous and brave and smart enough to recognize how to share your truth in a way that is clearly your truth and nobody else's. So let's take all of this into meditation. Whew, it's a lot. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Whew. What a wonderful gift to have a spiritual community that calls us on our stuff. What a beautiful gift to be invited to shine our true light in the world. What a beautiful gift it is to have allies with unity, inviting the world to have a better life. One step at a time, one day at a time, one breath at a time, one heartbeat at a time. Love, peace, joy, the kingdom of heaven, the consciousness of our wholeness. Allowing this consciousness to inform every cell in our body of the radical rightness of who and what we are. God is good and we are good. We have the capacity to let go of life as we have known it and step into the better life. Knowing that the truth will set us free, even if it first irritates us, even if it first frightens us, even if it first depresses us. We are willing to stand up straight with our shoulders back, to treat ourselves with dignity, and to be lifted by the love of Unity of Wilmington. So it is. So it is. And so we let it be.
I gotta slow down, stop for a minute, take a look around. I gotta take time to hear that little voice inside that said I came to give you life. spread your wings and fly. I've got a secret to share. You are enough to change the atmosphere. So go and do life big, big. I wanna do life big, big. Break out them blue skies. I can feel my heart beating inside, and it's a new day. I wanna hear you say, I came to give you life. So spread your wings and fly. Go out and show no fear. You are enough to change the atmosphere. So go and do life big, big. I wanna do life big, big.
I always just want to dance.
If you've been touched, moved, inspired in any way, tell somebody. Share that good news with people. Share it with your friends and your family. And be it every day this week. And that will radiate from you. And what we radiate, we attract. We invite you to give to the mission and the vision of this church, the ability to inspire people and to invite transformation. That's what you're giving to. Are you open to that? If you are, if you're here in person, there's a basket in the back. If you're online, you can do it on our website, unitywill.com. You can do it on Facebook through the donate button. If you have been touched, I invite you to do yourself a favor and give.
Do life big.
I wanna do life big.